Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Military Mayday. Pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. Come across a couple of cool articles here that might be interested in. I don't say cool is the word, but this one's kind of cool. Putin's secret 10,000-acre lair near Finnish border has 10,000 bidets, a brewery, and an air defense system. Now, I'll scroll down. You can see some of these pictures. Now, probably a decade ago, I had heard that Putin was worth $90 billion on record. That's not including his, front companies, resorts that he owns, land that he's got under different names, shit like that. That was 10 years ago, so I wouldn't even be able to tell you what he's worth now. But make no mistake, Putin's not a good guy. None of these. Biden's not a good guy. Trump's not a good guy. If you really look into them, they're all pretty much the same type of man. Just a different face paint, really. State Department reviewing options for possible recognition of Palestinian state. This will never happen. Make no mistake. But I don't know. It's just probably something to get a little press time. I'll read through it, or they're short articles. Before we do, though, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Other people might be interested in this type of information. Let's get started here. Russian President Vladimir Putin has secretly built a luxurious estate complete with 10,000 bidets, a stolen waterfall, and possibly even its own air defense system, not far from the Finnish border. The sprawling 1,000-acre complex is hidden deep in the forest of northern Karelia, just 20 miles off the Finland and Dossier Center, a Russian investigative organization reported. The lair, located on the shores of, I like how they call it a lair, located on the shores, normally it's a redoubt if it's anybody in America, right? Located on the shores of Lake Lagoda, also includes 3 modern-style homes, 2 helicopter pads, yacht piers, and a trout farm and beef farm, according to the outlet. Beef farm, that's wow. It is defended by barbed wire, a 24/7 security detail, and drone defense system. The compound is only accessible by boat or air. Relations between Russia and its Finnish neighbors have tensed since the Nordic country joined NATO in April, with the Kremlin threatening countermeasures and moving nuclear-capable missiles closer to the border in response. Some more pictures of it. Look at that. Look at that waterfall. That is badass. It's got to just go out and watch the waterfall. That's killer. It might be, that includes 3 large homes. Local residents say Putin visits the estate about once a year, likely to blow off some steam. There is no doubt the president relaxes here. A reporter for Dossier Center said the video report during his visits, the local security is replaced by FSO employees. Entrances are blocked off and neighboring islands are sealed off. The drone footage obtained the outlet also revealed a waterfall that was reportedly stolen from the Skerries National Park, on which the property was built. A raised embankment that could be used to station a surface-to-air defense system, a feature found on some Putin's other properties, appears near the back of the main property, the video shows. The estate was financed by companies linked to Putin's Kremlin-linked oligarch pals, according to the report. The owner of the estate was listed as Yuri Silka, chairman Bank Rossier, as Putin's personal banker and one of his cashiers. Kowalchuk, who reportedly looks over all the Russian president's real estate, has been sanctioned by the U.S. and EU since 2014. Gaza owns a hotel in the area. A neighboring estate is owned by Roman Abramoff, a former owner of the UK's Chelsea football club, who was forced to sell the team after he was sanctioned by the West for his ties to Putin. Construction on the site began more than a decade ago and was first reported in 2016. Putin reportedly has very few assets in his name, despite amassing one of the largest fortunes in the world since he became the Prime Minister of Russia. Bill Brody, a former financier, run the biggest investment from 1905, testified had accumulated 200 billion of ill-gotten gain. 200 billion. That's in '05. Well, boy, that was, huh? That's either way exaggerated or the number I got was way off. I didn't read all the way down to that part. Most of the Russian president's fortune is stashed away in offshore tax havens, invested in luxury properties inside and outside Russia, and spread out among accounts and his family and friends. Yeah, that's how these fuckers play, and they'll have foundations that they write everything off. It's fucking wild. I've looked into it, how the super rich live, and yeah, it'd be nice, but just being comfortable, maybe having me a little airplane, I'd be happy, you know. State Department reviewing options for possible recognition of Palestinian state. Secretary of State Blinken asked the State Department to conduct a review and present policy options on possible U.S. and international recognition of a Palestinian state after the war in Gaza. Two U.S. officials briefed on the issues told Axios. Why it matters? While U.S. officials say there have been no policy change, the fact that the State Department is even considering such options signals a shift in thinking within the Biden administration on possible Palestinian statehood recognition, which is highly sensitive both internationally and domestically. For decades, U.S. policy has been opposed to the recognition of Palestinian state as both bilateral and UN institutions, and a stressed Palestinian statehood should only be achieved through direct negotiation between Israel and Palestinian authorities. But that's obviously not going to happen. Just look at the way that certain people treat other people over there. Yes, but efforts to find diplomatic ways out of the Gaza open for rethinking. Saudi officials have publicly and privately made clear since the 7th any potential agreement with Israel can be conditioned force. There are several options for U.S. actions on this issue, including bilateral recognition of the state of Palestine, not using its veto to block the UN Security Council from admitting Palestine as a full UN member state, encouraging other countries to recognize Palestine. So yeah, those are three things that, yeah, they could have done for a long time and nobody's ever done because they're all owned and ran by the Jews somehow. State of play, U.S. officials said that the review of options regarding the recognition of Palestinian state is one of the several issues Blinken asked the State Department to look at. Blinken also reviewed what a dematerialized Palestine state would look like based on other models from around the world, and the two U.S. officials said the idea of demilitarizing Palestine state is something Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu proposed several times between 2009 and 2015. The purpose of such review is to look at the options for how two-state solutions can be implemented. The official stressed Blinken hasn't signed off on any new policy, and the State Department is in the process of coming up with a big menu of options. Reality check. Netanyahu, who has long opposed two-state solution, has recently rejected calls for Palestinian sovereignty, and that it's not going to happen. And Israel is vehemently against any recognition of the Palestinian state by individual countries or at the UN. Netanyahu's government includes ultranationalists who oppose even small overtures to the Palestinians. What to watch? Blinken is expected to meet with Israeli Prime Minister for Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer later Wednesday and discuss situation in Gaza, plans for the day after the war, and possibility of normalization with Saudi Arabia. Dermer met Wednesday morning with White House National Advisor Jake Sullivan. Similar discussion. Yeah, it's probably never going to happen. I mean, they're already turning it into a parking lot. There's nothing left hardly anyway. Just go look at the videos. But I don't know. I thought that was pretty wild. The fact they're bringing it up and kind of talking about it says that they're wanting to slow down Israel. You know, they're not really wanting them to have it either. Just wanting them to slow down, and then they can go back to bombing whenever they got people's minds onto other stuff. But this one here, this 10,000-acre redoubt, I'm going to call it, because, well, I guess it could be a lair, military redoubt, It's badass. And all these guys have this shit. But, you want to be evil to get it all? I mean, really, that's basically how it goes. Anyway, like, subscribe, toodaloo.